She walked into school with her head lowered, clutching the strap of her backpack like it was her only shield. To everyone else, she was just the quiet girl, the one who never raised her hand in class, never fought back when mocked, and never looked anyone in the eyes for too long. But no one knew the truth. Not the teachers, not the students, not even the bullies who laughed at her every single day. And then it happened. One single strike changed everything. A bully hit her in front of everyone. The hallway froze, gasps filled the air, and before help could even arrive, before a teacher could step in, her silence broke. She moved with speed no one thought she had. Seconds later, the bully was on the ground, screaming, his elbow twisted in a way that would haunt him forever. What no one realized that morning was this: the quiet girl wasn't weak. She wasn't helpless. She was holding back a storm, one she had been trained to control all her life. This is her story. Maya had always been the kind of girl who preferred shadows over the spotlight. Her classmates called her invisible, and to some extent, she wanted it that way. She'd grown up with loss, with struggles that had forced her to mature earlier than most kids her age. Her father had passed away when she was just 10, and her mother worked double shifts just to keep food on the table. At home, Maya found comfort in silence, books, sketching, and the faint sound of her mother humming old songs in the kitchen when she came home late. But there was one thing no one in school knew. Maya had been trained in martial arts since the age of 8. Her father, before he passed, had insisted she learn discipline, strength, and defense. He had told her once, "One day, Maya, life will try to break you. But when it does, you'll already be unbreakable." But Maya never used her training outside of the dojo. She avoided fights. She hated violence. And that restraint was exactly what made her the perfect target. Every day at school was the same routine. Bullies sneered at her torn shoes. They whispered about her thrift store clothes. They laughed at her silence, mocking her as mute or broken. But the worst of them all was Tyler. He was taller, broader, and cruel in ways that cut deeper than words. He had a way of making everyone laugh at Maya's expense, and for him, her silence was entertainment. One Tuesday morning, Maya sat at her locker when Tyler and his group approached. He snatched her sketchbook from her hands. "What's this? Your little diary?" "Oh, wait, drawings." "What are these monsters?" "No. Wait, are these your friends? Because I don't see you talking to any real ones." The laughter that followed echoed like sharp knives. Maya's chest burned. She wanted to say something, anything, but she froze like she always did. Words never came when she needed them. Tyler shoved her sketchbook against her chest, hard enough to make her stumble, and before she could take a breath, he raised his hand, mocking, smirking, and slapped her across the cheek. The sound cracked through the hallway. Silence followed. Gasps erupted. Students froze. A few pulled out their phones. Maya's head turned with the force of the hit, her cheeks stinging red. Her eyes welled, but not with tears. No. Something inside her father had spoken about awoke. It was as if his voice echoed in her memory. "Don't start the fight, Maya. But if they hurt you, finish it." Before Tyler could laugh, before a teacher could come running, Maya dropped her bag. Her movements were lightning. She stepped forward, gripped Tyler's wrist, twisted it in a way he had never imagined possible, and with a clean, trained motion, his elbow cracked. Tyler screamed. The crowd scattered, shocked. Maya stood still, her chest rising and falling, her hands trembling. She hadn't wanted to hurt him. She hadn't wanted this moment. But it was too late. Her secret was out. And her life, from that moment on, would never be the same. The principal's office smelled of coffee and paper. Maya sat with her mother beside her, staring down at her hands. Across the desk, the principal tapped his fingers, his voice serious. "Maya, what you did today was dangerous. You broke a student's elbow." Her mother's face was pale, worried. She was defending herself. She said firmly. Tyler hit her. What was she supposed to do? Just take it. The principal sighed. Self-defense is one thing, but the way she fought, it wasn't ordinary. "Maya, where did you learn to do that?" Maya lifted her eyes. For the first time, she spoke with strength in her voice. "My father trained me. I didn't want to use it. But I won't let anyone hit me again." The principal leaned back, troubled yet thoughtful. News of the incident had already spread across the school. Students who once ignored Maya now whispered about her like she was some kind of legend. The quiet girl had broken the bully. But the attention wasn't all good. Tyler's parents threatened lawsuits. Other bullies whispered threats, angry that their leader had been humiliated. And Maya, who had always sought peace, found herself at the center of a storm she never asked for. At lunch, kids stared as she walked in. Some looked at her with admiration, others with fear. And then came the unexpected. Leela, one of the most popular girls in school, approached her table. "You know," Leela said softly, sliding into the seat across from Maya, "you did something today I could never do. I've seen Tyler hit others. I've seen him make people cry. But you stood up. You didn't just take it." Maya's throat tightened. She didn't feel like a hero. She felt heavy, like she had crossed a line she could never step back from. But for the first time, she realized something: her silence had never protected her. Her voice, her strength, that's what mattered now. Weeks passed, and though Tyler returned with his arm in a sling, his power was gone. He no longer mocked Maya. In fact, he avoided her. Other bullies did the same. The balance of power had shifted, and students began treating Maya differently. But Maya didn't gloat. She didn't smile at their fear. Instead, she helped others. When she saw another student being picked on, she stepped in, not with violence, but with presence. Her courage alone was enough to make most bullies back down. Her martial arts master once told her, "The greatest fighter is not the one who wins the battle with fists, but the one whose presence prevents the battle altogether." And Maya finally understood. Her father had been right. Life tried to break her, but she hadn't just survived, she had become unbreakable. This story isn't just about a quiet girl who defended herself. It's about the strength hidden in people we overlook every day. It's about how silence doesn't mean weakness, and kindness doesn't mean submission. And most of all, it's about remembering that every person you see is fighting a battle you don't know about. So the next time you see someone being bullied, mocked, or pushed down, stand beside them. Because one act of courage can change everything.